Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. We are here, as always, instant match reaction. Everton nil, as much as I hate to say it, Everton nil, Bournemouth 2. Get your comments in. Let us know how you feel. Let's gather the reaction after this game. We have two people coming back from the game regular. Obviously, Caswell often comes on the Toffee Bluecast. And Paul, who hosts it with me, they're on the way back giving the thoughts from the game. I'll give mine, and you in the comments let us know your thoughts. After Everton going out of the FA Cup, that is it now. We are not able to win a trophy this season. Some of you will probably say, we wasn't going to win the FA Cup anyway, but we completely can't now. It's out of the equation. It is out of the equation. Right, I'll chuck it on Paul first, and I'll chuck it on Caswell. Some might be positive, some might be negative, by the way. Everyone's got different... I feel this is going to be mixed thoughts on this. So... start with you, Paul Foz, and then we'll get to Caswell.
Yeah, I'm gutted. I'm sad more than anything. I was annoyed at half time because I just thought we just shot ourselves in the foot constantly. There was just, God, thinking about it just boils me, to be honest. There was lads there who, for some reason, were a shadow of themselves from the last three games. So, for example, Decore, I'll just say Decore. Lindstrom seemed out.
Might struggle with signal, people, because obviously we have got travellers back home in their car. Paul's lost signal, and we'll put him back in a second. Caswell, jump on you now, and then obviously get Paul back in when he gets his signal back.
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of what he said, the first half disappointing, like 2 goals conceded from 2 mistakes, really, both from Taki, who's normally Mr. Reliable. But I think generally his first half was quite poor. Like a lot of the passes that he did into the midfield, into Jake O'Brien, put him under unnecessary pressure, and we still lost balls even when he did find a pass. Second half was like a different team. And when we got that Alcaraz on, and in fairness, even Jack Harrison, we seemed to get forward quicker and more, and passes seem to have a purpose about them, and we create. We hit the post 3 times in what was it, 6 minutes? That kind of just like summed up our luck for the day, really. But yeah, it was a tale of 2 halves. I still clapped the team off at the end. It was second half. I was really impressed with the effort and we looked like a team that can actually play that second half. And I think if we're going to play Liverpool, and I think the first half showed that Bournemouth were a better midfield than ours. But when Njai started to get in the middle, then we had Alcaraz and Harrison out wide with Young. We seemed to control it a lot more in that second half.
Yeah, I'll chuck it back on you, Paul. Your signal went, but carry on.
I don't know where I dropped out, but I was just saying Njai didn't really get any of the ball first half, and Decore was Decore, and the back four. There was a weird thing between Pickford and Tarkowski for the first half, where Tarkowski would get the ball when it was a goal kick, and he would spin it in the 6-yard box. So then, I think he was trying to pretend that Pickford would then hit it forward, but he just every time gave it back to Tarkowski. And Bournemouth are a high press inside. So they would close down Tarkowski, they would close down O'Brien, because that's normally where it would go next. And then either we would give it away or they would win it back. But we did that like 5 or 6 times in a row. Now, I teach 7 to 9-year-olds. They could tell you what's going to happen next if they've seen it 3, 4, 5 times beforehand. So it was just easy for them to defend high up against us, and that leads to mistakes, and it leads to the goals. It was just really frustrating because we are better than that. The second half was far better, and like Cass said, Alcaraz Alcaraz did more input in the game and drove the game more in that however long he was on, half hour, 20 minutes or whatever, than Decore's done in all the time we've had him. I honestly believe that. He seems decent on the ball and everything else. He wants to do something. Decore wants to run and be involved, but he's bereft of control and skill, and that's what we need going forward. We really do.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Alcaraz as well, when I'm at the games, I like to see what people do off the ball. He always seemed to find a position in space, and it kind of like upset their midfield a bit. Alcaraz, it was after about 5-6 minutes of him being off, you just saw their midfield like looking over the shoulder a bit. Where is it? Who've we got to pick up? And I think he disrupted their like press really and how they mark up and stuff a lot more. Whereas I think we could easily be read in that first half. And like you said, Foz, they do. They're not only a very high pressing team and very good at it, they're very clever at it as well, in fairness. I noticed that their timings were very good with it. So even when we were trying to play a ball that in the past has worked against the press, against Spurs and Leicester and stuff, we were under a bit more pressure when trying to take them passes, whereas we didn't seem to have as much pressure that second half because our midfield had a bit of better positioning, so it kind of disrupted their press.
Yeah, and also they had a high line as well. I mean, they only really had Beto to contend with, because left hand side NJ, sort of inside left, was never getting the ball anyway. And it's very rare that we would play him in over the top anyway. And then on the right hand side, Lindstrom wasn't even involved, so it was just easy. They could just press up, and then have extra people to win the ball back, and that's exactly what they did in the first half. But I mean, them aside, doing what they could do, and us being awful the first half, officials were an absolute joke, to be honest. The liner who didn't spot an offside. I mean, I was in Upper Gladys Street. I could see he was offside from the flick on before the penalty given. Surely.
This is. I mean, obviously, you two, Gav. I mean, you sit at the stadium. Sometimes it does look different to what you see on TV, but I'll give my opinion. I don't think the first. I think obviously we've all said bad first half, and it wasn't our usual first half. But I think we started the game well. I think we was passing the ball. We was trying to bring them out to us and cut through the lines, and that was clearly the tactic. And I know it's scary, and I know it probably invited some of the mistakes, but we was trying to bring them onto us, and we was more composed than I've ever seen us pass from the back. We didn't pass from the back under Dyche. And we was doing a couple of 1-2s where at the first half you're seeing Garner break the lines, turn, and then we ran on. Garner Gay break the lines, a couple of 1-2s, and then we ran on. The defence started. They looked calm. They was moving it from side to side from the back and not losing it. And then all of a sudden we got the ball to Garner Gay in a really good position. And Garner Gay cut in, cut up. Their players tried to see the ball out, so their players shielded the ball to go out for a goal kick. Garner Gay was having none of it. Not Garner Gay, Iliman Ndiaye, sorry. Iliman Ndiaye was having none of it. Iliman Ndiaye keeps the ball in play, does a little bit of a twist and turn, gets in on the keeper and does a little chip where he has scored in that position before. And if we was to go 1-0 up on that Iliman Ndiaye chance, it was a hard chance of what he did to get the chance, but once he got himself in the position, he scored from them. Kepa put his foot on top of the ball and only just landed his foot on top of the ball before it went back in the back of the net. So I thought we was okay with possession at that moment in time, the first 15, 20. And then the Ndiaye chance comes. And we know it's who scores first has got a big chance of doing well in this game. We know that for a fact. The first goal is massive, especially against a team like Bournemouth. And Ndiaye, that was a wicked chance. And then 5 minutes later, after that really good chance, the player was clearly offside. I mean, of course, the moment they say we're not doing VAR in the FA Cup, we're going to desperately need VAR. And you wouldn't expect VAR to hurt you as much as it did here because he was clearly offside. And I know some people say, oh, Tarkowski shouldn't have done that, which I completely agree with, by the way. Tarkowski should not have done that tackle. He might have even clipped the ball. They didn't show it that much on TV, by the way. They didn't replay it a lot. I don't know, but he should never have. Semedo would never have scored from that position. He was going more out wide to make the shot harder than what he was towards goal. So Tarkowski only needed to stay on his feet and nothing was going to happen. Let's just face that. So there will be loads of moaning at Tarkowski, rightly so, on that penalty. But at the end of the day, if it's given offside, Tarkowski, whatever he does is irrelevant, and it was offside. So we're really unlucky on that because it was 110%, I believe, offside. They're not showing that either. They don't show no replays. And after they get the goal, it hurt us a little bit. I think the fans was a little bit like they knew that was massive on probably a big chance to go out once you go 1-0 down. So the stadium quieted down a little bit. We lost the momentum of that. And then all of a sudden, Tarkowski was still trying to pass it from the back, and Tarkowski decides to play a long ball, really short, smack bang into the feet of their player, and them score from it again. So Tarkowski's had a blunder, Antti, and you do often see it. It's not a surprise. You make a mistake, you make more. It's not like when you're having a bad game, you're having a bad game, and it got worse and worse. And sometimes it can happen when you're having a good game. I think when you're having a good game, you can score 1-2. We often see players that score one go on to get braces or hat tricks. So I do believe that once Calvert-Lewin made that penalty mistake, it's in his head. He's messed up. It's my fault. I've messed this FA Cup. He's trying to do over the top. He's not as confident clearly then, and he's gone and made another mistake, which has put us 2-0 down before half time. And that once they'd gone 1-0, there was all over us. And that's why, to me, a lot of people will say it was a crap second half, because once they got the goal, they took advantage of the momentum and confidence of being 1-0 up, rightly so. But we then come out second half and we're all thinking, if we can get the next goal, we can try and get 2-2 and get to penalties. Well, I was anyway. And we just wanted to get the next goal. And we come out second half. We were decent. We was dominating. We was getting up the pitch. We was getting in some cracking positions. And I'm not normally positive when we lose because I just hate losing. But there were so many positives in that second half, I thought. The chances that we got, there was a Jake O'Brien header that he just missed the header. The keeper, I think it hit the post, not the keeper, or the keeper. That was an O'Brien header. There was Irabunum just lofted one over the top of the goal. The Irabunum chance was really close. It just went over the top of the goal. Jack Harrison, he whipped one in, dangerous ball. It hit the post. The Jack Harrison chance, it hit the post. Not many times do you whip it in, smashes the post, and goes back to the keeper's hands, but that's when you know it's not your day. And there was loads of good cross into Keane on his head. There was a good chance there. Irabunum, come on, looked really sharp in positions. He looked like he could have scored. Like I say, that chance, he had another chance. Harrison, who never normally plays well for us, decided he's going to finally pull his socks up. He whipped some really good balls in. And then Super Alcaraz decides to take a free kick and smash it on the bar. And they often go in when you've got the luck. They really do. So just from what I'm saying and what happened there, you can tell we could have scored 3, 4, 5 second half. And I'm not even joking on that. Obviously, they could have scored 1 or 2. But we're showing enough to me to say, you know what? It wasn't... We started bad. We made 2 mistakes, which we shouldn't have, which paid us all off. But we didn't put our heads down. We put a good second half in, and it just wasn't our day. That's how I felt about this game, and I'll ask you to how you felt on it. But it just felt like the moment Harrison hit the post, when that would have gave us 20 minutes to get it back 2-2. And the moment that the free kick hits the post, when it would have been 20 minutes just to get a goal back to take it to a draw, you know it's not your day. So I was gutted like you, Paul. I was like, you know what? We can't win a trophy. I wanted the FA Cup so bad. So I was gutted. But at the end of the day, I just thought to myself, there was enough good there to go into the derby with. And if it's not your day, you just got to start hitting posts. We're just that far away. So I just thought, it ain't meant to be. But a lot of positives for me to go into the derby. And I do believe, as much as we'd all love to win the FA Cup, and it breaks your heart the chance has gone last season at Goodison Park, we've got to focus on staying in the Premier League. And I do believe there was enough there with players coming on, how they played, and with how we played second half to say we can go for this derby. That's a massive game coming up. I wouldn't want us to like be too negative about it, because like Tarkowski had a really bad game, but he's had 2-3 really good games. So to jump on him and make him have more and more bad games, I think we've got to lift him back up and say, Tarkowski, you've been good the last 3. Don't do that again. Get back on track to what you was 3 before. We don't need to completely knock the house down just because things have gone wrong this one game. In my opinion, if we can put a good performance in this derby, it'll be massive. So yeah, surprisingly, I'm not as miserable as I normally am, the match reaction. Maybe because the second half was good enough for me to say, you know what, fair enough. You gave it all second half, made loads of mistakes first, but you gave it all, and I still see that you've got potential. Give me some feedback on that, lads. Comments are coming in.
Yeah,
Go on,
yeah,
Cass. No, you go, Cass.
quite agree. I think the only thing I'd say about the first half, though, when you said composed on the ball and stuff, I think the only person really getting us forward was Jimmy Gardner. Although the substitutions that we had with Alcaraz, I thought Tim Iribunim played really well when he came on as well and got us forward. Really liked him in the midfield. He looks like he's a lot sharper than I thought he'd be after being out for some time. I stayed and clapped the boys off afterwards. I was made up with the effort. But it's like you said, when Harrison's cross hit the post and went back into Kepa's hands, said to the people around us, that's going to sum up our day, boys. I said, when they don't go in, you know it's not your day. We did literally. And then when Tim had that shot 2 minutes later, I started celebrating when it left his foot. I thought he was going to score.
It was very close.
He beat a few players, and then it's like, oh, an open goal. I started jumping up, and it missed. I was like, yeah, that's it. We've literally done, but we carried on, didn't we? You know, you can't moan at the attitude. The skill level was there, especially second half. The speed of the passing, speed getting forward, passing had more like purpose to it. I think we need to change something for the derby, but I'm still confident going into it. I still think we can get something. And you know what? We should have got something there. Honestly, do believe that we deserved at least 2, maybe 3 goals.
Well, I think when you're hitting the post, you can't get much closer. Paul, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I know we had sort of like a 5-10 minute spell before the subs came on, but when the subs came on, it was better. There was definite difference. I think we just had 3 ball players, you know, across that line of 3 behind Beto, and Jai was on the ball more, and Alcaraz started in that kind of 10 position, and then he almost changed the position as well. He was all over the pitch, actually. There was a moment where he was the furthest man back, getting the ball off Pickford. So he was everywhere, but everything was sort of going through him. And Jack Harrison as well, like Cass might have said before. Jack Harrison, I was pleased with, because he didn't give up. You know, he didn't give up trying to find that moment to try and get a cross in. And he had their left back, who's supposedly their better fullback, on toast a few times, putting some of them crosses in. So he turned him inside out at 1 or 2 times. So I'm much more pleased with 3 ballers than, you know, just physicality. I think we're aiming in the right direction. It does make me very confident for Wednesday, but at least it's positives. It's just FA Cup does me head in when we go out with a whimper, and it still feels like that. Even though we put the effort in, we just end up going out with a whimper. You know, stupid result, 2-0. Still gutted. I am still gutted, but I'm also aware it's getting to the end of Goodison's lifetime as well. So I'm there on Wednesday, but that potentially could be my last time there. So it's a bit of that mixed in, I think. We really want us to do well, but this season doesn't seem as though we've done justice to the old lady.
No, I think a lot of people will be feeling the same, because Obviously, you can't. If you've got a season ticket, fair enough. But people that haven't got a season ticket can't get to every game. So when you do go to Goodison Park, you want it to be everything that you dream it to be and be special. And the FA Cup a win would have been mega today. And I really wanted to win as well this FA Cup game. And it is gutting. And of course, you should be gutted because I don't think you should have acceptance of being okay with going out in the FA Cup. Like you just said, I think what you're getting at, Paul, is that the fact is if they beat us through 2 worldies, you could accept it. But at the end of the day, they scored 2 goals, which one was a penalty, which we shouldn't have given away. And the second was a really bad pass from Tarkowski, where he shouldn't have been doing that. So their 2 goals was gifted to him in the FA Cup. So where you'd want us to really fight to win the FA Cup, we've kind of just give it to Bournemouth and give them 2 goals on the plate. And we left ourselves a massive hill to climb to have to fight back in the second half. And it's just frustrating when I can see why you're coming back frustrated on that, because you go with so much hope and you're 2-0 down through so much stupid mistakes. Yeah. But at the end of the day,
I was just going to say something else as well, is that fair play to Beto. He did run his socks off today and he worked that hard. He was legless by, do you know what I mean? He lasting a full 90 doing that job. He's really going to struggle. And obviously with DCL being now for as long as however many weeks that is, we're going to need to try and find an alternative to Beto, because I think we're going to be lacking in the last 20 minutes, to be honest. In the 20 minutes of games where he's trying to play a full 90, we're going to need to try and find an alternative, whether it be a young lad coming in.
Hopefully, I'm not sure how much Shamiti is, but I think Shamiti might be 4 weeks, Paul. I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong, but I do believe Shamiti is probably going to be the first one we're looking to come back even before Calvert-Lewin, and we're not even 100% on. The problem is when these strikers come back, you don't know whether they're going to get injured straight away. It's so hard when you come back from these big injuries to put a run of games together. You often put them in the under-21s to get them up to speed, so they're up to speed and don't get injured. But we're probably likely going to rush one of these strikers in, giving them a chance to get injured again. We said this previously on the shows that Beto's a 110% non-stop striker, and you can only do that for about 60 minutes. And he's always going to have to come off. No, I don't think no striker in the world could put the shift in that he puts in for 90 minutes. That's his game. His game isn't just relax and then run, relax and run. It's just all out, give everything. That's Beto's game, and he did do well. I thought he did well. I felt sorry for him because you didn't hear his name much because the service wasn't that good into a striker. It was a lot of the other players that got chances, but he did work hard. Gutting he didn't get a goal, Beto, but I think he knows he's going to be striker again. And what better game than the derby to try and get? It's a massive game coming up. I think what helps me though is that I'll be more gutted if we lose the derby. You know, like I feel like that I had 2 big things coming up. Right, 2 big things coming up. And if I can win one of them, it makes it feel better. Do you know what I mean? And if I lose both of them, I'll be gutted. And the fact that we could still, I know some people will say we can't, but the fact that the derby's there, if we won the derby, you'd completely forget about this FA Cup game, I feel. Because it'd feel that good to win the derby that you could accept this loss more. If you lost 2 in a row, you'd be like, oh, we went out of the derby. We went out of the FA Cup, and now we lost the derby as well. So it really hurt. It'd be like last FA Cup at Goodison Park out. And then all of a sudden after that, you lose the derby for them idiots to give us crap. But I think if we can lift ourselves for this derby and get a result there, it does make it better. Still gutted we're out the FA Cup, because I really did believe when we was on the pre-match that we could do well in it. I really did believe that. But it just wasn't our day. It just wasn't our day. And you'll know from probably both of you playing football and stuff like that, sometimes it goes for you and sometimes it doesn't it? It's like that. Like sometimes you just say it's not my day. And I think when we hit the post on the free kick, when you still would have had 20 minutes to come back and Goodison would have got rocking, I think you think to yourself, oh, if that went in, if it was our day, that would have gone in. And then Harrison hits the post as well, and you think, oh, And then Irabunum just whiskers if you watch that Irabunum one. It's one of them, he connects with it so well that it looks like it's going top corner because he misses because it looks like he's trying to put it perfect with that Irabunum one. So, it is frustrating. It is frustrating, but the show goes on. The show goes on.
It does.
And
I was actually hoping that things would be reversed. Even with 2 minutes to go, I was still thinking, hey, you know what? 2 goals in a minute.
Yeah,
I just hope that we turn
But
it
in
back
fairness,
on
we
them.
were playing well enough to score 2 goals in a minute.
Yeah, we were.
I actually thought that second half, if we'd have scored 2 goals in like 3 minutes, I'd have said that was a fair reflection of how we played.
Yeah.
But
I thought the comeback was on.
I'd like to see the midfield.
We had about 55%. We had about 55, 58% possession or something, didn't we?
Yeah. We've done everything but put the ball in the net. I mean, was it Branthwaite on the back post? I don't know how he was like 1 yard out and then did it onto the post. Oh, I couldn't believe it when I was celebrating for that one as well.
That was Jake O'Brien.
Oh, was
the commentator said that the keeper. Yeah, the commentator said that the keeper had saved it, but he didn't. Jake O'Brien, it looked like the keeper had tipped it onto the post. I mean, he might have tipped it onto the post. For some reason, every chance Everton got, they decided to replay it for 1 second and not show you anything good about Everton. The commentator absolutely did my head in because it just seemed that they were speaking so much shit about Everton, or like we're the team that we was under Dyche, and I was thinking, no, stop chatting crap when the commentators kept talking. And another one, and I am going to rant about this, right? I'm going to rant about this hardcore, and I forgot to rant at the start of the show. I probably should have. And Paul mentioned it earlier on, and Paul wasn't wrong. The referee today was an absolute idiot, and he was doing my head in. He was actually making me fuming because the referee was inconsistent, always like doing stuff wrong. And even when they scored the penalty, you could tell he was just gave that straight away impulse. He didn't think about it. He just gave it. He didn't care. He gave it. And I know it was a penalty, yeah, but I could tell the referee was on one against us today. And there was a moment. It felt like because it's at Goodison Park, the referee's like, I'm going to give no advantage to their home team. And there was a moment where Jack Harrison was like, he had the ball in front of him. A player's gone to Jack Harrison, pushed him in the back, and Jack Harrison fell onto the ball and he's gave a throw-in. He's gave a throw-in to them. And I was thinking, oh my days, are you being serious? So you can push a player into the ball and then Bournemouth can get the throw-in. And I couldn't believe that. I was like, what the heck? And then straight after that, it was one of the Bournemouth players. I think it was Harrison that had ran past one of the Bournemouth players and didn't touch him. So Harrison's gone past the player, and the player's dived over to get a free kick. And if you watch it back, the player's not been touched at all. Harrison's just ran around him, no contact whatsoever. The player's dived down. I think it's the left back of Bournemouth. He's dived down and asked for it. It was Kerkeres. It was Kerkeres, yeah. So Kerkeres, I thought it was, but I didn't want to say in case. Kerkeres is shielding the ball. He just wants to get fouled. Harrison's just ran around him saying, I'm not going to foul you, but I am going to run on and get the ball. So he's done that. Kerkeres has gone down after not getting touched. And then Iliman Ndiaye ran up to the referee and gone, what the heck? Because Iliman Ndiaye's fuming because he knows he's not got touched. And we was in the box in a very dangerous position to score here. And that was a massive decision. And like I say, to top it off, the decision was wrong. We would have got a good goal-scoring opportunity that was taken away from us. And then to finish that off, Iliman Ndiaye, rightly calling him out to be wrong, gets a yellow card. And I know if you react to the referee, you get a yellow card. But when the referee's that wrong, you shouldn't be getting a yellow card for that. Because it was decision after decision after decision. There was continuous things in the middle of the pitch where our players had got the tackling, just touched the ball, free kick. Just touch the ball, free kick. So the referee is, I'm not going to say what he is, but you know what he is.
Yeah, the thing that in front of, it would have been in front of me and you, Cass. There was, Ndiaye got the ball second half, and he would have gone down to the corner that was sort of in front of us, and he got hacked. We got the free kick, but there was no booking. I just couldn't believe there was no booking or anything. And then in the last kind of minutes, suddenly he started pulling a card out for cynical fouls. But those cynical fouls would have happened if he'd done his job properly in the first tackles. It was just frustrating.
Actually, Young took the ball on and got called for a foul.
What surprised me was Njai gets booked for doing the Seagull celebration, but their player winding up the the home fans doesn't even get a conversation from the ref.
Yeah,
I actually thought
when
I
goes
thought
in doing that one,
I thought the touch judges were more off it than the ref.
I can't remember the actual foul, but there was also one where it was towards the end. One of our players got just knocked down in the centre of midfield, and the referee just played on. I think it might have been James Garney. He just got Garner Gay got smashed. Smashed into the back. They played on, and luckily they didn't score. He was greedy. The player that scores the hat tricks for him, I can't remember his name.
Clivert, probably.
Clivert went through and he just tried to chip it over the keeper. He could have easily put it into one of his players' feet, but he was greedy and tried to chip it over. But it should have been pulled back before that. There was a lot of bad decisions, and if it wasn't a game that was so close, I do think the referee could have cost you this game. And I don't like to moan about referees a lot, but I do think if it was a close game, you'd look back at these decisions and say, that referee cost us the game. But because it's 2-0, you don't think about it. But that was really bad refereeing. And I had to give it a massive call out because it did my head in. It kills your momentum. That's the thing. You don't know whether we would have done better without these bad decisions.
Well, the offside before the foul for the penalty is the killer, like you say, in the first goal. Leicester will say the same thing from last night as well, won't they? How can these linesmen not get these offsides? Offsides, right?
Well, why haven't they got VAR in the FA Cup?
I think the argument was if you can't have it in every game this year, then you won't have it in any game.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's bullcrap. I still think you should push to get good officiating in as many games as you can, and just accept that some of the lower league stadiums there won't be, but make sure the officials are the best officials at those stadiums to make sure that it's refereed to the best it can. But VAR you should 100% be using it. And I know we all have little moans about VAR and stuff like that, but that's beyond old school. I haven't seen linesmen's referee like that, decisions that bad in a long time, because it was like a Sunday league football. You get some random guy doing linesman, one of the parents doing linesman that don't know what offside is, because everyone could see it was offside. By the time he'd flicked it over and flicked it through, he'd run on and it was offside. So Tarkowski tackle will get called out more than anything, and people will be fuming. I've got a feeling I'll come off this and go on X, and a lot of people will be really angry with Tarkowski, giving him loads of stick. But I'm not normally the positive one, but do remember he has had 3 fantastic games before this. And he was shocking today. He was shocking today. The tackle just didn't need to be made. It fumed me. No, I hate stuff like that.
3 good years for us. I think he's been one of the reasons why we've survived, because he's been so strong. It's just been a bad day at the office for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think that as well.
That's it. He's had one bad half. I thought second half he wasn't perfect, but he was better. But every player has him. It's just one of them days. You can't moan at him, because everything that he's done for the past 3 seasons has contributed to our Premier League survival, and I think he has been a massive part of that. And bringing Branthwaite on as well.
Yeah, he has progressed, Branthwaite, as well. I agree. And I think Jake O'Brien was fantastic again today, composed with his feet. I think he's getting better and better. I don't really think Jake O'Brien was at any fault for anything. He bombed it down. He did over it a couple of crosses, but when you're a centre-back getting used to playing on the wing, right wing back, when you're getting used to it, I think you've got to expect Jake O'Brien, he's got to improve those little parts of his games. When you're playing as centre-back, as a full-back, you kind of expect that. I do believe his crossing will get better, though. James Garner's crossing was shocking today. He needs to go and work on that. His corners was poor.
It's normally good as well.
Yeah, really bad corners by James Garner. There's nothing more frustrating than bad corners, especially when we've got like giants in the box. We've got to. Drinkwater needs to frigging have a look at those corners again, because whatever he's saying to them ain't working. You've got to be getting past the first man to at least get to the giants past the first man. Our corners were shocking. Was frustrating for me. Right, people, that is it. That's the match reaction. I mean, we've got Travellers home. Paul, travelling home. Safe journey home. Caswell, thanks for coming on. Safe journey home. Thanks, everyone, for... he wasn't consistent with his cost. So thanks, everyone, for coming on. It's not what I wanted. It isn't. And I just really want this derby now to put it right. Otherwise, I won't be we're going to win this derby. I really have got that we're going to win this derby. We've got to be a lot better than what we was this game. But if we win the derby and get another 3 points in the Premier League, we've got to remember the main thing is to ensure that we go into that new stadium in the Premier League. And that is so important. We can't take our eyes off that. The FA Cup would have been incredible. But, and I'm not just saying this, I did say in the pre-match I want to win the FA Cup, and I really did. But I did know if we went all the way in the FA Cup with one striker, we'd probably pick up a lot more injuries and Garner Gay playing 24/7. I personally think if they've said that we're going to be able to sign loads of players next transfer window, and Everton for the first time are going to be able to spend big on a window, I think the cup competitions are going to be better for us next season when we can invest in a bigger squad, because we haven't got a big enough squad for Premier League and Cups, unfortunately. So it might be a blessing in disguise. This could be just me making myself feel better. But I do feel if we would have gone far in that FA Cup, although we said it wouldn't because we wanted to win it on the pre-match, if we would have gone far, looking today when you've got Garner Gay playing every game, getting burnt out, you've got Beto, if he's injured, we've got no striker. We could, I don't know why Mikalenko didn't play today. Is he injured?
I presume he is. He wasn't even in the squad.
Could be injured. You never know, do you? And Mikalenko could be injured as well. I think you'll both admit our squad ain't big enough, is it, for extra games this season? And we've got to focus on the Premier League now.
Yeah. I think if Alcaraz is anything to go by, I'd rather be patient and wait for the right player to come along rather than just willy-nilly.
David Moyes said that. He said that in the press conference. David Moyes said, I'd rather give you the proper players. You could tell David Moyes had a few options where he'd get players that he's unsure about, but I think that's how you get us back into the mess that we was in a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Having players on the books that you don't quite fancy and that you've got big contracts on, and then you can't later on get players that you want because you've got to still pay their wages. So I do believe I'm not that fussed that we didn't go big on this transfer window because I think we would have overpaid on crap, Caswell. So I'm not that bothered. I think just stay in the Premier League this season. It's crap. You want to do more than stay in the Premier League, but unfortunately, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Stay in the league, win the derby, celebrate about that all season. That's better than winning a cup. Win the derby so we beat them twice in a row, and then just crack on and get into the new stadium in the Premier League. If we're in the Bramley Moore Dock in the Premier League, and we've got a transfer window where David Moyes says he can get some players where us fans are actually really proud and excited about watching, it's going to be amazing in that new stadium. And we do have like a good bunch of players to build on, I feel, as well. There was a lot of positives today. I think Pickford's a world-class keeper. I think O'Brien's a really good player, young and going to progress. Branthwaite's a fantastic player, young and going to progress. Irabunin, when he come on today, I forgot how good he can look when he's in the 10 position. Yeah. He looked fantastic. Alcaraz isn't a bad price, to be fair, at 15 million. I think he could be a good signing. And Illiman and Jai, we all know how fantastic he is. He's a cracking signing. Lindstrom, whether we keep him or not, let's see how he turns out. I'm excited. I am excited. If we get a good transfer window around those players, we'll be okay next season. Right, we are coming to an end. Caswell, last words, and if Paul comes back, I'll give him the last words and we'll end the show.
No, mate, like I say, I clap players off. Very happy with what I saw second half. And I think we've got something in us to get something in the derby on Wednesday. Genuinely believe that.
Massive game Wednesday. You going, Caswell?
No, it's my daughter's birthday, so I can't even watch
Is
it.
it on the derby? If we
I
lose
know.
on the derby, don't give her a presents.
Yeah. My daughter's 9 Wednesday, so we're going out.
Paul, you're going to the derby, ain't you, Paul? Look at his driving there. He's on his drive and he's on the way home. But I think Paul is going to the derby, people. So hopefully, I can see how gutted he was. Rightly so, I would be as well. Hopefully, we can put a smile on his face after that game. Right, people, that is the end. Instant match reaction. I'm more positive than what I thought it would be, but that's just because I'm ready for the derby. The derby's bigger than any game for me. And if we lose that, I will be fuming. There will be no positives if we lose that derby, people. The derby's massive. Honestly, it is massive. If we win that, we can crack on, climb up the Premier League table in a position that we're comfortable and just enjoy our football this season. I'd love to get in a position where David Moyes can get us playing some nice flowing football and score some goals at Goodison Park to get it rocking. Just winning's good at Goodison Park. And I do believe that we can do that. Let's get back to winning. Right, I'm going to drop the banner. Caswell, thanks for coming on. Paul, thanks for coming on. And I'm going to drop the banner. Have a boss night. Don't worry, we'll put it right. The good thing is we haven't even got a week to wait. We've got the derby coming up in how many days? Wednesday?
4.
Not 4 days. Paul's thinking, I'm at the derby in 4 days. No. Build yourself back up, mate. You know what I mean? I know not wind out yourselves, but build yourself back up. Paul is going to witness us winning the derby at Goodison Park. So the last derby at Goodison Park, Everton going to win. Don't worry, that beats the FA Cup for me. I'm not even joking. But I would like to have won the FA Cup. You know I would have. Right. See you later, everyone. Have a boss one. Dropping the banner now.